The boxing community in Dallas is pretty small. Kids get to know each other pretty fast.
They was good kids. Flat out, simple, good kids, too good for this world.
Police received calls about shots fired.
Officers get to the park. A lot of people are scattering.
There is a young man lying on the ground with a bullet wound to his head.
Everybody who's present is a suspect.
It was a lot of rumors going around.
Obviously, there was conversations trying to devise a plan to get revenge.
They took their room and they ran with it.
I remember talking to my partner and saying, did he get the wrong guy?
It's April 25th, 2021, in DeSoto, Texas, a suburb of Dallas.
At around 6:22 p.m., police received calls about shots fired at Les Zeiger Park.
Patrol officers responded to that immediately. They get to the park. A lot of people are scattering. People are getting in cars and driving off.
There is a young man lying on the ground with a bullet wound to his head.
Police actually tried to do first aid. They were trying to apply pressure. They were trying to put a towel on his head. At one point, he actually tried to stand up.
The injured man is unable to identify himself.
He was very frantic, laying on the ground with blood coming out of his head. We quickly got our ambulance there and our paramedics. They loaded him up and went, and he was still alive.
By then, only a few witnesses remain.
The initial detectives arrive at the scene and try to get some information. Nobody was really talking. We had no idea who this individual was that was shot.
Investigators do learn the crowd had gathered to memorialize a different shooting victim.
They were at the park for a balloon release memorial for another young man, 19-year-old Cameron Collier.
The witnesses that patrol officers did talk to did want to give any information. They all kind of had the same line. I heard a pop and I thought it was a balloon. Then I looked around.
They looked and saw the victim on the ground, but they did not say that they knew who the perpetrator was.
I think they just didn't want to get involved, right? And I can understand that. It's frustrating, right, as a detective, but, you know, you get that. I went ahead and decided to go up to the hospital to try to decide if we could figure out who our victim was. I arrived at the hospital and I, went into the room and he was, lying on the hospital bed with gauze wrapped around his head. I could see where the bullet had entered his head. I could see he was on a ventilator. He was not responsive at all.
Meanwhile, news of the shooting and rumors about the victim's identity are spreading.
I was at my friend's house and someone called him and told him that Kobe had got shot. And at that moment, I was just calling Kobe, texting him like, hey, you good? I just heard you got shot. Like, what happened? Let me know where you at, stuff like that. So I ended up calling my mama. Victoria told me that it was a shooting that happened at the balloon release where Kobe was at, and somebody told her that he had been grazed. Bullet grazed his ear. I pretty much was pacing around a little bit, trying to get my mind together. My child was just shot, So, first thing I could think of, I called my sister and told her what happened, and then I called 911.
The mother of the victim called into DeSoto and said, hey, I believe my son was the one that was shot at the park.
And so we had her come up to the hospital. That's one of the most difficult parts of my job, is being with, the loved ones and the friends of the victims and having to have them go into a hospital room and make an identification. Miss Graham did come in. She did identify the individual that was on the gurney as her son.
And that's when we started piecing together that this was, in fact, Colby Graham.
And I saw him. I saw him laying in the bed, and he was hooked up to
life support. It's hard to explain. It really is. Like, somebody just punched me in my stomach when I saw him laying there. My heart just dropped to my stomach.
Colby Marquise Graham was born on January 6, 2001 in Dallas, Texas, one of 4 children.
He loved all his siblings. He played with them and he grew up with them. He was a real good kid. He liked to play, at the time, he liked to play football. He liked to play basketball, and he was a video game fanatic. He loved playing video games.
Me and Kobe used to do everything together, literally everything. Like, wherever I went, he went. You see him, you see me, you see him, you see me again. Like, yeah, so we was live.
In 2012, when Colby was in 6th grade, the family moved south of Dallas to the suburb of Lancaster.
He went to Lancaster High School, and then after Lancaster High School, he went to Gateway Charter School.
Colby and his brother took up boxing and found a new friend group.
The boxing community in Dallas, especially on the African-American side, is pretty small. It's predominantly like a Latin or Mexican atmosphere, so, you know, that draw the people closer, and the African-American kids get to know each other pretty fast.
He was very selective of the friends he hung around with, and the ones he hung around with I knew, and they was pretty good kids, very well-mannered. I met some of the parents that the kids he hung around with. They were really good kids.
Colby bonded with one young boxer in particular, Cameron Collier.
Cameron was really cool, really witty, easy to be around. I think boxing became an outlet for Cam and like an extended family and something to look forward to. So he worked really hard.
Cameron was a very gifted boxer, and he took it upon himself to study techniques of the greats, including Errol Spence Jr., a world champion and DeSoto native.
He was a rising star in the boxing community. He was also involved in the Marines, and he was very active in the community. You just take a lot of pride in that because you think this young man's really gonna grow up and be something.
Cameron and Kobe did a lot together. You know, he used to come to the house and pick him up when he needed to go places, and did a lot together. They was friends for like maybe 4 to 5 years.
By 2021, the boyhood friends were now young men, and their friendship was as strong as ever. But that spring, tragedy struck.
On April 22nd, 2021, Kobe suffered a tremendous loss when his friend Cameron Collier was killed in his vehicle.
Colby was devastated.
He was so hurt, really hurt. Like, I just got through talking to him. He wasn't the Kobe he had used to being. You know, he had changed. I started noticing a lot of depression. He was kind of moping around the house and acting different.
3 days later, Colby planned to attend a balloon release in honor of his friend.
Cam died on a Thursday. Balloon release was on that Sunday. So within them days, he kind of made his mind up that he was going to go. And originally, he wasn't going to go by himself. He was going to go with our cousin. Our cousin had something to do. He was just like, okay, cool, I'm just going by myself.
But hours later, Colby himself is the victim of a gunshot wound. He is on life support at a local hospital as his mother looks on in shock.
I looked at him, I'm like, wow, why? You know, it didn't make no sense to me. You know, seeing my son laying in that bed with those on that machine, and like, it just didn't make sense. I didn't understand.
When we spoke with Colby's mom at the hospital, in my opinion, she was doing a really good job staying strong.
She was asking a lot of questions that I can remember, and I said, you know, we're working on it. I hugged her. I said, you know, we're going to find out who did this.
Detectives working the case are familiar with Cameron's shooting 3 days earlier.
There were similarities between, you know, Cameron's death and now Colby Graham's.
Not only are the two cases similar, Colby's name had come up in Cameron's case.
He was a person of interest in Cam's murder. We immediately started to say, okay, this is definitely related to Cameron's homicide.
After sustaining a gunshot wound to the head at a memorial for his friend, 20-year-old Colby Graham clings to life in a Texas hospital.
Colby is in critical condition, and his chances of survival look slim.
The initial investigation was on what we call an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So that's what we initially started working the case as, but we knew there's a good chance that Mr. Graham would pass. The bullet that was removed from Colby's head was a .380 caliber.
.380, it's not a rare round, but more people lean towards 9mm 40, something more common. .380 is kind of, I wouldn't say rare, but it's not as common as a 9 or 40.
Most witnesses fled the scene of the balloon release in honor of 19-year-old Cameron Collier. That leaves DeSoto police with only one potential lead.
Colby Graham has been shot in the head just days after Cameron Collier.
He initially was a person of interest in the Cameron case.
Investigators revisit the details of the case.
When detectives responded to the scene of Cameron's homicide, it was a car that had actually looked like it had veered off of the road and was actually spun around backwards in somebody's front yard. And they found Cameron unresponsive in the driver's seat. And the thing about that scene was it was about to start raining, so we knew that preserving the evidence at that time was key. So we actually had people start fingerprinting the car almost immediately, and we actually did develop a palm print.
Detectives interviewed Cameron's family that same day.
We found out from the family that Cameron likes to sell shirts at this particular shopping center.
His mother was kind of having a hard time financially, so he was trying to help his mom out. He was selling these t-shirts and people was buying them, like it had his name. He was doing real well with the t-shirts. You know, he was making a lot of money with the t-shirts.
We immediately went and canvassed that shopping center.
Investigators pulled video from a nail salon. They saw a young man approach Cameron's parked car and strike up a conversation.
We actually see the individual actually getting into the passenger side of his vehicle and then leaving from that shopping center. We don't know what actually transpired in the car, what conversation took place in the car, but it was almost immediately after they left that shopping center, they made one right-hand turn and Cameron was dead. Minutes later, he was dead. So we believe that the person in this photo is responsible for Cameron's death. We took that still shot photo of that individual to the family, and we were showing them to everybody, asking, who is this person?
But no one recognized him.
Nobody could pinpoint who did it.
His family was eager for justice, especially Cameron's brother, Norman.
As we were talking to him, you could tell he was kind of hanging on every word we said, really taking in what we were telling him, trying to gather as much information as we were giving him at the time.
Even though Norm was older than Cam treated Norm like the younger brother. And Norm went wherever Cam was at, Norm came. Always, all the time. So, you know, like if you lose your brother like that, that's like taking a portion of yourself away. You know what I mean? You couldn't even imagine.
We said, let us do our job. Let us work through this investigation. We are working nonstop to catch Cameron's killer, and we will, for sure, do everything in our power to get somebody in custody if we have the right information. We asked the family, okay, who does Cameron usually hang around? Who can tell us where he has been, what his daily routine is? And they all said, well, yeah, he hangs out with Gabe. Him and Gabe are inseparable.
Gabe Salinas is also at the home.
We showed that image to Gabe, and Gabe was the one who initially implicated Colby as saying, that guy right there in the image, I'm 99% sure is Colby. That's when we started looking into Colby. We started trying to do some research on him.
Investigators spoke to Colby.
We look at, alibis. Where was Colby at the time? Everything that Colby was telling us was indicative that he was not anywhere near Cameron Collier's murder.
And we were kind of getting the sense that Colby, based on his height, was not the individual in this surveillance footage. You could tell that the person who got into Cameron's car was much shorter than Colby.
So we had eliminated him pretty quickly as a suspect.
That's when we actually found out that he had been killed at the vigil.
On the day of Colby's shooting, investigators circle back to Gabe Salinas.
And so we wanted to bring him in to see if he could help, right? We still hadn't made an arrest in the Cameron Collier death. So because Gabriel Salinas had told us that he had felt that Colby Graham had killed Cameron Collier, we wanted to dive in to get more information about why Gabriel thought that.
But now, Gabe has little to say.
Despite claims of knowing that Colby was responsible for shooting Cameron, Gabriel claims he did not know who shot Colby.
We weren't getting the whole picture, and we can kind of tell that.
Gabe does admit to being at the balloon release.
And so Gabe becomes a suspect, of course, because everybody who's present at the vigil is a suspect. Those that are closer to Cameron are more likely suspects.
Investigators in DeSoto, Texas, are trying to untangle the motive behind two shootings. One that claimed the life of Cameron Collier, and a second that left Colby Graham on life support.
The April 25th shooting of Colby Graham could have been carried out in retaliation for the murder of Cameron Collier.
Investigators question Cameron's friend Gabe, who initially pointed the finger at Colby as being responsible for Cameron's death.
We did want to look at Gabe's phone to see if there's anything in there that would indicate that he was involved in the murder on the 22nd or the murder of that day. I do a lot of digital forensics with cell phones and that sort of thing. So I asked Mr. Salinas if we could take his cell phone and do a forensic analysis of it. And he agreed. So as I was taking his phone to our lab to do it at the police department, a text came across from an individual named Norman. And the text came across as with a heart symbol and solid ass N-word. And at that point, based on my experience, that was somebody who was happy about something, that this was a good deed had happened, and so that concerned me.
Detectives recall that Cameron's brother's name is Norman, and they wonder if this text is from him.
I went into the contacts of Gabriel's phone and actually confirmed that it was Norman Collier's cell phone number that the text came from.
Investigators recall a detail from their interview with Norman following his brother's death.
So we had actually asked Cameron's family if he had any means of protection. Did he ever have a gun on himself to protect himself while doing these type of deals in the parking lots and stuff like that? And actually Norman said, yeah, he usually has my .380 on him as protection.
We knew Norman had access to a .380 handgun, a Glock, that he said him and his brother would carry from time to time. We knew the bullet that was removed from Colby's head was a .380 caliber.
When we pieced together that he had a .380, and we decided, okay, well, let's start looking into Norman. Obviously, we had the motive.
Norman and Cameron were very close. Norman was the older brother. Their father had passed away in 2012, and so they had grown up for a significant amount of time without their father.
We didn't want to go arrest Norman Collier unless we knew we were absolutely right. So we started putting surveillance on Norman. We started to do the other investigative things that we do We start honing in on a real person of interest.
We started calling and say, hey, we need to talk to Norman. We started trying to get family members to help us talk with him. Once we kind of started leaning towards it being Norman, we found that it was harder and harder to actually get him in person.
On April 28th, investigators received new information about Cameron Collier's murder.
We were getting information from some neighbors that they may have captured an individual running across some yards on a couple doorbell cameras. When we got those videos, we saw that this individual was actually running to a certain particular house. He was wearing like a gray hoodie with some type of ripped jeans and I believe a red shirt underneath.
Then, investigators receive an ID on the palm print found in Cameron Collier's vehicle.
The lab comes back with an ID on the palm print. However, it doesn't belong to Kobe. The palm print comes back matching that of a 16-year-old with an extensive history of burglary named Justin Davis.
Based on some of the doorbell cameras, we saw that he ran specifically to this one house. And when we developed information, we learned that that house was actually the house of Justin Davis.
When police look up Justin Davis in the system, they see that he is wearing an ankle monitor connected to a different crime. But when they ping the monitor's location, they find that it's been disconnected or broken.
We did surveillance on his house. We went and spoke to his mother at their residence, searched the residence, looking for any kind of evidence. We couldn't locate Justin Davis.
5 days after the murder of Cameron Collier, investigators have identified a suspect, 16-year-old Justin Davis.
We couldn't locate Justin Davis, so we made the decision to do a directive to apprehend on a national database in case he does get handled by any law enforcement officials. They'll know that we need to speak with him.
If Justin Davis killed Cameron, it proves that Colby didn't.
I remember talking to my partner at the time, Detective Acosta, and saying, did Norman get the wrong guy, right? Is this, I'm sure hoping not. We were hoping that this was not a case of Norman Collier going out trying to get revenge for the death of his brother Cameron.
But Norman's recent social media posts amp up their suspicions.
Norman Collier was posting things that were very interesting to law enforcement. Colby Graham was in a coma, and Norman is actually posting kind of derogatory things towards him being a zombie and that you're not dead, but you're not alive, those kind of things, indicating that, yeah, you're like the Walking Dead, essentially.
He made mockeries. He posted zombies. My brother was a zombie. I thought he was hard body, why they lied. Just all type of stuff, like crazy stuff. And it's like, boy, you just stay here and shot my brother and you making Instagram posts? Like, this what we doing?
It was him basically saying that's what you get for messing with my brother, right? That's the way we took that post at that time.
Investigators are still unable to track Norman down for questioning. On April 28th, 3 days after Colby's shooting, investigators get another break.
We were actually told by another detective that he spoke to somebody from the Parks Department who happened to mention, hey, are you working that homicide that happened at the park? And it's like, well, there's video there. And we were shocked at that information. We immediately went over to the park and started extracting the video from the actual DVR. And when we brought it back, sure enough, it had captured the offense on camera.
When they watch it, they get a shock. They are able to clearly see footage of Kobe's shooter, and it's Norman Collier.
From what we can see on the video, we see that the vigil is going on. There's still people hanging around the park. Colby walks up kind of slow, and it almost seems like Norman was almost, in essence, stalking him, coming around a car. And as soon as they met close to each other in between two cars, he immediately pulled out a pistol from his left pocket, held it with his left hand, and fired a shot towards Colby in his head.
I remember the shock factor of Javier and I looking at each other as we recorded this murder on video, right?
After the shot rang out, people started to flee. They started getting cars, leaving. Not Norman.
Norman starts jumping around, obviously excited, obviously amped up, which is what we would see somebody who is, feels some sort of relief, right? That they have done something for lack of a better term, retaliation. You killed somebody close to me, now I'm going to take your life.
We felt that he, in his heart of hearts, absolutely felt that he had killed his brother's killer.
That's when we swore out the arrest warrant for the aggravated assault.
But that charge is about to change. Colby's family gets a grim update on his condition.
It was the 28th. They took him down and they did the brainwave. And the doctor called me around about 8 in the morning and told me what was going on. They told me I need to get there. When we got into the room, they still had him hooked up to the machine. And the nurse kind of did a demonstration on him to show that he was gone. That's when they clarified that he was considered brain dead.
The next day, Colby Graham passes away.
I just heard my mama's footsteps walking in my room. She was just like, he didn't make it. And I was just like, damn. Like, I didn't know what to say. Even now, still in shambles, like, my heart is broken.
That's when we were planning on, changing the charge to capital murder under Texas law. Because when you commit murder in retaliation for something else, it rises up to the level of capital murder, which in Texas is punishable by life without parole in prison or the death penalty.
After a week of bloodshed leaves 2 friends dead, DeSoto police are on the lookout for 2 murder suspects. 16-year-old Justin Davis and 22-year-old Norman Collier. On April 29th, police get a tip on Norman's location.
We learned that Norman was actually staying with some family friends.
We called Norman and asked him to come to the police department to speak with us.
At first, it appears that Norman is ready to cooperate. Investigators come at Norman hard.
We told him, you shot the wrong guy. The individual that you shot was not the person who killed Cameron. We never revealed who it was. Based on Justin Davis's age at the time, we couldn't reveal that to him.
The news is a shock to Norman.
To be told that you killed the wrong person, you've risked your entire life and you've gotten it wrong. I think it was devastating.
He, in so many words, indicated that he was responsible for the death of Colby, but never outright said it. He said that he wanted to apologize to the families for what had happened. He would never fully outright say the words, yes, I shot Colby Graham, but the guilt was weighing on him so heavy that he was saying other things. He also stated what he did with the gun that he used. He told me that the gun, he had given it to somebody and that we would never find it.
Norman acknowledged that he got rid of the gun, but he didn't say to whom. And I think Norman's thinking there was he didn't want to get anybody else in trouble, that he was responsible for the shooting, and that the gun was gone.
Norman is officially charged with murder.
Once I learned that Norman Collier was in custody on the capital murder warrant, we drove over to the Collier's residence to let them know where Norman was and what had taken place. And I remember having the conversation with Mrs. Collier. It was very tough for me because I felt here was a mother who had 2 sons. One had just been murdered a week before, and now we had just arrested her other son on a capital murder charge that, if it had been prosecuted as such, would have meant life in prison without parole or the death penalty. And to have to tell that to a mother who had been through so much affected me. I've never had to do that before, and I felt really bad for for Mrs. Collier having to go through that.
Even with the arrest, the investigation continues.
When we talked to Norman in his interview, he indicated that he had given the gun to somebody and that we were never going to find it. Right, so we believe that the only person that he had a close connection with after that shooting who would have been the one to give the gun to was Gabe.
Investigators bring Gabe Salinas back for another interview.
That's when Gabe learned that the wrong person had been shot. He was extremely torn up. You can tell that it was weighing very heavily on him that these certain events took place in this manner, and that he never said it directly, but we knew he was involved.
With neither Gabe nor Norman giving details, investigators piece together what they believe led to Colby's death. It started when investigators first showed Gabe still shots from surveillance on the day of Cameron's death.
Whenever we showed that picture to Gabe and he told us that it was Colby Graham, Norman was sitting on the sofa 10 feet from him when he heard that name, Colby Graham. And obviously there was conversations that were had once law enforcement left between Gabe and Norman as to maybe trying to devise a plan to get revenge.
Over those next 3 days, there was a lot of social media chatter in the DeSoto area. There were people saying that they knew had killed Cameron Collier. They knew that it was somebody who was close to him. We did see Colby Graham's name come up several times as people saying, oh, this is the man who killed, Cameron Collier.
Colby knew of the rumors and reached out to Gabe before the balloon release.
He felt that his name had been put out there as being involved in the homicide, which is why he clarified, hey, can I come? We believe Norman and Gabe may have actually rode to the balloon release together, and there was actually conversation had based on the cell phone extractions that we got that was telling Colby from Gabe, yeah, you can come through. So obviously that information would have been instantly relayed to Norm. As law enforcement, we believe he was lured to the scene to try to get him there. He knew in his heart of hearts that he had nothing to do with it, so maybe he felt, yes, I want to clarify things. My name is out there, but I didn't do this. I'm here for Cameron. I'm here to celebrate Cameron's life. And to him, that was more important than trying to squash any rumors. He was there to support Cameron, and unfortunately, he paid for it with his life.
As the dust settles around Colby's case, investigators still have an outstanding warrant to serve.
Justin Davis, who is responsible for the death of Cameron Collier, is still on the run.
In the weeks following the murder of Cameron Collier, authorities in DeSoto, Texas, search for his suspected murderer, 16-year-old Justin Davis.
We had known that he was being monitored by juvenile probation using an ankle monitor, that he had removed that ankle monitor.
Finally, on May 12th, Justin Davis is located in the Pleasant Grove area of Dallas.
Justin confesses to shooting Cameron Collier in a random act of violence.
For whatever reason, he found himself armed in the streets and looking to rob somebody. And he robbed and killed a person who didn't deserve it at all.
Justin Davis, at the time of the offense, was a juvenile, but was later prosecuted and certified as an adult in this case and was sentenced to an actual considerable length of time to prison.
In March 2024, Norman Collier goes on trial for the murder of Colby Graham.
He ended up pleading guilty to the jury at the beginning of trial. It's what we call a slow plea, which means you're going to a jury trial acting like you're going to plead not guilty. But when you go in, you stand up in front of the juries like, as a defense attorney, ladies and gentlemen, my client's guilty. He did what he's accused of doing. But there's a lot of mitigating factors that I want you to hear, and why I'm going to ask you for a lot lesser sentence than what the state of Texas is offering as part of a plea bargain. And that's what happened in this case.
Norman entered a plea of guilty to the offense of murder. But in Texas, if a murder occurs under what's known as sudden passion, the range of punishment is reduced. And so the issue was whether or not this was a sudden passion murder.
Norman's attorney asserts that he is not a cold-blooded killer.
There was no evidence of him ever being convicted of any crime prior to this. And when I say any crime, I mean any crime. So Norman had zero experience with the criminal justice system. Norman played video games, frankly. He stayed in more than his brother, and he had worked some various odds and ends jobs and made contributions to his household, but he wasn't a troublemaker. He wasn't somebody that I think if you passed on the street that you would feel any type of threat at all.
They argue that while at the memorial for his brother, Norman was overcome with grief and anger.
There was a release of the balloons that had occurred, and it's kind of the same thing that occurs when you're graveside at a funeral and you see a coffin lowered. Now, I think the emotions that you feel in that moment, there's a lot of finality to it. There's a lot of pain. And this was just several days after his brother's death. It's generally understood that the impact of death, particularly someone close to you, changes how you feel and act mentally.
But prosecutors point out that Norman Collier brought a gun to the memorial, suggesting premeditation.
They tried to say that he acted out of sudden passion. There's nothing sudden about it. Sudden is when you hear about it, you see it, you act upon it, whatever the case may be at that moment. You don't wait 3 to 4 days and then go with your move. That's not sudden.
It was already in his mind what he was gonna do to him. So, and he had the time to change his mind. He had the time. But he didn't.
Ultimately, the judge came to the decision to sentence Norman Collier to 22 years in prison.
I don't think Norman would have done what he did unless he actually believed that Colby had killed his brother. It's sad to me not only that he decided to take matters into his own hands, it's that he made a huge mistake and ended an innocent person's life for no reason.
It didn't make sense to me, you know, and it was so sad because this young man, you know, he lost his life too. And it was sad as well for him and his family. And him shooting my son was more so, he was hurting and he wanted another family to hurt. So basically, hurt people hurt other people.
It's a lesson on decisions and will. We all given a will to do wrong, do right. So a lot of times when times are like kind of hard, you got to just stick with it, stick with the things that you know are right, because just things to just take a nosedive that easy. Just one little bad decision can just ruin the rest of your life.
They was good kids. Flat out, simple. Good kids. Didn't deserve it. Too good for this world. They both were. Life would have been a whole lot different than the way it is now. I'm gonna say that.
This damn thing doesn't work.
What's going on here? On the evening of May 25th, 2001, we received a suicide call at the Butler Street YMCA in Southeast Atlanta. As homicide detectives, it's our job to respond to any death case where things may seem suspicious.
The building has been converted into a rooming house that rents rooms by the week. We've been in homicide less than a year at this point. We're still considered rookies. We haven't dealt with a case quite like this before. So we roll up to our location right in front of the Y. We've got our victim clearly just out there in the middle of God and everybody.
Looks like we could have a jumper.
Yeah, what a way to go, man. Detectives. What do we got?
This is 51-year-old Lawrence Green. EMS from Grady is pronounced dead on the scene.
Looks like we got a cracked second floor window over here.
Think it jumped?
Jumped, fell, pushed. We'll have to see.
All right.
I'm not seeing any gunshot or stab wounds here.
Right.
At this point, we know there's two facts that happened. There's a window that's broken. This victim more than likely came out of that window, and he's here on the ground. Now what we have to figure out is how he got here. Was it himself? Was he involved in an altercation with someone else? Or did he fall out the window accidentally?
Hey, boss, can you confirm that the victim's apartment is on the second floor?
Yeah.
All right, if so, we need to go ahead and lock it down.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Once the medical examiner gets there, she gives us permission so we can actually touch this victim.
May I?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
And then we go into the victim's pockets, and I find a piece of paper with a phone number written on it.
Could be something, could be nothing. All right, let's bag this. Thanks.
What do you got?
Lawrence Green.
When we look up, that window's busted out. That's 213. So we got an issue.
All right, let's go put our eyes on it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
We decided to go and move this whole crime scene upstairs and start our secondary phase of this investigation.
When we get there, his front door to his room is wide open.
No forced entry.
All right, well, I don't see any signs of a struggle.
Here. Could be his jumping off point.
The position of this chair and the window being wide open, this could have been a good jumping off point for this victim if he decided to take his own life.
What do you think? 30, 35 feet?
Sound about right to me. About 3 stories.
Right. So I think when our victim went out the window, he hit the second floor window on the way down. That's why it's broken.
That makes sense.
Nothing's adding up to something that was intentional, that this person died at the hands of another person. So we are really scratching our heads right now.
All right, I'm not spotting like a suicide note or nothing like that, right?
No.
Typically, when someone commits suicide, they leave something behind to let people know why they did that.
So check this out, Vinny. Why is the door open, right? I mean, if this brother's going out the window.
It's a good question. Maybe he wanted someone to see him.
Maybe he had company.
Maybe he had some company.
We don't know, but we're not leaving till we get an answer. As we're just going through our victim's room, we're noticing just random items.
Oh, wait a minute, Vinny. Oh, check this out.
Pawn shop.
There's a pawn ticket just conspicuous, sticking out like a sore thumb, and it's got Northside Pawn written on it.
Yo, this is from today.
Right. So why would you pawn something if you're gonna be committing suicide later that same day? Let's get some eyeballs. Somebody saw something.
So our next order of business, in these types of environments, you gotta go talk to the manager.
What's up, man? Detective Velasquez. Abraham.
We meet this Middle Eastern brother who goes by the name of Abraham Ibarra.
Okay, so we want to talk about the guy in 313. Lawrence Green?
Yeah, I know him.
Have you seen him today?
Yeah, he was going to buy a computer. He's very excited about it.
Around 6:45 p.m., Abraham says he sees our victim, Lawrence Green, actually walk back inside holding a computer and then walks upstairs towards his apartment.
Was he with anybody?
2 men.
Now here we go. We got 2 other people in the mix.
Describe them.
Our alarm bells and our heads go off. I mean, these could be potential witnesses, or they could be involved if our victim's death is ruled a homicide.
One was dark-skinned, short, stocky build. He was wearing a black T-shirt.
And the other guy?
Taller, kind of lanky, wearing a white T-shirt. Both had short hair.
So they just went upstairs and you didn't see them anymore?
No. They came back to the front desk a few minutes later.
Abraham says our victim came back downstairs with the stout guy, and they were asking how to spell the word Parmalat.
Parmalat? What is that?
Well, apparently it was the password to get into the computer, and they kept spelling it wrong.
So what happened next?
They went back upstairs. Next thing I know, I hear a commotion.
And then he hears glass breaking. We know what that is. We know our victim went out the window.
And those two guys come running back, said there's been an accident, took off.
That's just crazy because an accident means somebody fell out of a window.
So did they go back and help Mr. Green?
No.
These guys haul ass. They don't stand by.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So we got at least 2 really not good citizens leaving our crime scene we got to get a hold of.
So you believe in this is an accident situation?
No way.
Me either.
You know, we're starting to think right now this was not a suicide.
Excuse me. Are you police?
That's right.
This guy walks up to us and identifies himself as Tom Hamilton. Basically, Tom says, listen, I was just walking down the street, and all of a sudden I hear like a scream, and then I see this guy hit the ground.
All right, so what else did you see?
2 guys come running out of the building like it was on fire. They ran right past that man on the ground.
Could you describe the 2 guys?
Yeah. One was short and stocky, dark-skinned. The other one was tall and skinny.
That totally matches up what Abraham told us.
All right, did you see where they went?
Yeah, they ran to that corner. A car came up, they got in it, and they sped off.
This is great, because now we have a 3rd person involved in this.
Were you able to get a look at the driver?
What kind of car was it?
It was an older model maroon Buick, I think.
You catch the tags?
No, I didn't.
That's all right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, we're outside talking to this witness, Tom. We get done with him. All of a sudden, this guy named Gerald Williams walks up to us.
Hey, hold on. I need to talk to you guys.
All right, calm down.
He's upset. Like, he literally is having trouble even speaking to us. We're like, calm down. He's like, I'm his best friend.
All right, so your best friend is Lawrence Green?
Yes, I was there. I know what happened. I saw everything.
This is the guy we're looking for.
Now tell us what happened, brother.
The tragic story of what really happened is a...
Looks like we could have a jumper.
Yeah, what a way to go, man.
We're investigating the suspicious death of 51-year-old Lawrence Green at the historic Butler Street YMCA.
Now, was he with anybody?
2 men.
Though the call came in as a suicide, witness reported seeing the victim with 2 men shortly before his fall out of the window.
2 guys come running out of the building like it was on fire.
What started out as a suicide, at this point, seems to be a homicide.
Hey, hold on. I need to talk to you guys.
At the crime scene, we meet Gerald Williams, who may have the answers to this mystery.
I know what happened. I saw everything.
Dude had a front row seat to the crime.
Tell us what happened.
Lawrence told me earlier that day that he met a guy at the pawn shop that was going to sell him a computer.
Now we're thinking back to when we're in Lawrence Green's apartment and we find his pawn receipt.
Check this out.
This is all lining up.
Pawn shop.
So now our timeline is solid.
You were with him?
Not at the pawn shop, but I was here when the guy bought the computer.
According to Gerald Williams, he was the only one in his friend Lawrence Green's room when a guy shows up carrying a computer.
And what'd the guy look like?
He was black and about 6 feet tall. Red and blue baseball cap, red t-shirt.
This guy being described by Gerald Williams doesn't sound like any of the other 2 people that were described previously. So right now we got a new person in our scenario.
He and Lawrence were trying to get the computer to work. Then another guy came in.
What'd he look like?
He was more short and stocky, with a black t-shirt.
The front desk clerk, Abraham, and our witnesses from outside described the same person.
We good? No, man, I can't log in.
According to Gerald Williams, both Lawrence and this guy with the red t-shirt and the ball cap on, they're trying to get the computer to work, but nothing's happening. They're getting no success.
The password is Parmalat.
They couldn't get the computer to work, so they all went downstairs.
They go downstairs, and they're trying to figure out how to spell the word Parmalat.
And then Lawrence came back by himself.
Deal is dead. Ain't bound machine I can't get into.
According to Gerald Williams, the short, stout guy, he appears in the room with a brand new guy.
It was a different guy?
Guy in the red t-shirt was gone. Skinny guy replaced it.
We've heard this description before. This is exactly the description of the two men the front desk clerk saw running out of the building after our victim went out of the window.
So now we know the guy in the red and blue baseball cap with the red t-shirt, he skied up. He was nowhere to be found, so maybe he's the getaway driver.
Hey, y'all know what's up. Turn around.
Then out of nowhere, according to Gerald, the thick brother pulls out a pistol.
What kind of gun was it?
I think it was a 38.
All right, what did he do next?
Then he started going through our pockets.
This now confirms our victim did not commit suicide. This is a straight stick-up.
I don't know why, but Lawrence started fighting back.
Our victim, Lawrence Green, was tussling and fighting back. And at some point, the tall, skinny guy just hauled off and punched Lawrence right in the face.
Then they pushed him out the window.
What happened after that?
They just left him. And they killed him, man. They killed my best friend, man.
Right now, we feel for this brother Gerald. I mean, he saw something that's probably traumatized him for the rest of his life.
Take my card. If you think of anything, give me a call.
We know if we can identify these guys and get photographs of them, we got to come back and see Gerald.
Based on all the witness statements, we know we're looking for 3 suspects.
We got all our T's crossed and all our I's dotted at this point. We just don't have names to go with it. This all got kicked off at the pawn shop.
Gerald told us that Lawrence Green met a guy there that was going to sell him a computer.
We rolled over to Northside Pond to see if they had anything that could help us ID this mystery man.
What's up, man? APD homicide.
How can I help you?
All right, so a guy came in here yesterday.
We meet up with the manager, Robert Valley. We tell him exactly what our business is. We've got this pawn ticket.
So do you recognize this gentleman? Lawrence Green.
He's a regular. Good man.
Okay. Who was working here yesterday?
Yours truly. Lawrence was in here asking about computers.
As he goes into the back to bring something out, when he comes back out, he says that he sees Lawrence talking to another guy.
The guy must have overheard us, and he's telling Lawrence about a great deal on a machine he's selling.
Robert Valley is ear hustling their conversation and could hear the guy tell our victim, hey, I've got a computer that's probably a better price than you're gonna get in here. Let's exchange information.
He wrote his number on a scrap of paper and he gave it to him.
We got that same piece of paper of a phone number inside our victim's pocket at the original crime scene. This is big.
Can you describe him?
Black guy. He was wearing a red and blue hat.
This has to be one of our suspects. There's no doubt in our minds right now.
Same description.
You have surveillance cameras in here?
No, but the guy pawned a TV that same day. Let me find the ticket.
Thanks, man.
We're gonna have an actual written record.
Here it is.
Put together by our suspect.
So it says his name is James Starling out of Decatur.
This is incredible because right now we have the identification of at least one of our 3 suspects.
It's time to learn everything we can about Mr. James Starling of Decatur.
Yeah, man. They're not all gonna be this easy, huh?
All right, let's see what we can find out about Starling.
This is almost too good to be true. We got a name, we got an address, we got a phone number.
Ooh, freaker and flyer.
He's got some criminal activity. We even see where he has an arrest for an armed robbery.
He fits the profile. Let's make sure he's our guy.
This is our 2nd homicide case ever. We don't want to leave any stone unturned, but we also want to be careful that we put the right person in jail.
So the phone number belongs to Starling.
Even as a young homicide detective, we got that adrenaline burst. This gives you energy to keep it moving. This is what you feed off of to be a homicide detective, chasing down leads.
All right, so what's the move? Field trip to Decatur? Pay Mr. Sterling a visit?
Maybe. What if we can get him to pay us a visit?
Talk to him.
We call him up, tell him we have a murder warrant for him, and he needs to come down here and clear his name.
That's interesting. Not exactly about a textbook.
No.
This is what me and this guy used to do. We always worked outside the box, even from day one. We believed in each other.
Gotcha.
The plan was to reach out to James Starling and basically bluff him. Tell him, we have a warrant for you, but we're not feeling it. All you were doing was selling the computer. That's all you need to do is come and talk to us. That was the plan.
Hello?
There's a big risk we could scare this guy off. The murder investigation of 51-year-old Lawrence Green is humming along.
What's up, man? APD homicide.
We learned that he interacted at a local pawn shop with one of our suspects named James Starling.
We call up Starling with a plan to get him down to homicide. You know, we've never done this before, so we got our fingers crossed, hoping it works.
That's right.
Hello?
James Starling answers the phone and immediately identify myself as a detective with Atlanta PD homicide.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What you want me?
So your name came up in the case I'm working.
I don't understand.
We have a murder warrant for you.
It was this silence. I'm like, hello? And he's like, I'm here. I'm like, we need you to come down and talk to us to clear this up.
Hello? All right, listen, man. I'm new in homicide. I don't think this was you, okay? But you just gotta come in here so we can get your side of things.
All right, I'll come in.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Good stuff, Vinny.
So this was a total ruse to get James Starling into our office. And it actually worked.
All right, let's bring it home.
The next day, James Starling shows up for the interview.
All right.
This brother is wearing the red and blue ball cap described by the people that have stepped up as witnesses. We're loving this.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, man. Sure.
At this point, we don't really have enough to arrest James Starling. But the idea is if we can get James Starling talking, he may give up something that gives us that little bit of a nudge for us to arrest him.
You doing okay?
I've been better.
He looked very concerned, like wide-eyed, waiting for me to say something.
You can relax, James. We don't actually have a warrant for you.
For real?
You can get up and leave whenever you want.
I said, I apologize that I had to tell you that. I had a feeling if I didn't say that, you wouldn't come down. He looked relieved, and that's exactly where we wanted James Starling. He now feels comfortable.
But your name did come up in our case, and you're here right now, so let's get you on record.
What could I do?
We start chopping it up.
You know a man named Lawrence Green?
No, but, I mean, I met him, but I wouldn't say I know him.
Okay, how'd you meet?
At Northside Pond, he wanted to buy this computer off me for $50. So I gave him my number. We could hook up later.
That lines up exactly what Robert Valley told us over at the pawn shop. So we're cooking with gas now.
And did you guys hook up?
Yeah.
So where did that happen?
At his place.
What's great about this thing is he's putting himself in the company of our victim on the date of his death, but we got to keep pushing.
And you sold the computer to Mr. Green?
No, I was having issues logging in, so I took it and I left.
We're not buying that. We know he's involved more. He's just holding back.
Now, was anybody else there with you when you were selling the computer?
No. Well, this girl Tiffany, but she didn't get out the car.
At this point, we have 3 other eyewitnesses that put 3 people at the scene with our victim. There's no doubt James Starling is lying right now.
So what's Tiffany's last name?
I don't know it.
What about Tiffany's phone number?
I don't have that.
Okay, let's backtrack for a second. Besides Tiffany, who else was with you?
No one.
So here's where we're at, James. You're not being completely honest with us.
I swear I am.
So then tell us about the robbery and the murder.
I don't know nothing about that.
James Starling isn't budging.
And you're sticking with the story.
I am. And I guess I can leave now, right?
No. Stay right there for a second.
I knew at that point, James Starling was not going home.
You're going to booking.
Booking? For what?
I'm putting together an arrest warrant for you.
We had enough for probable cause. Not enough to prove to a jury, but you don't need that for an arrest.
Well, look, you heard him, man. All right? Come on.
Stand up.
We have plenty of time to build this case. Our concern was if we let him leave this office today, not only is he going to get in the win, he's going to tip off the other 2 suspects. We couldn't take that chance.
We got a warrant for James Starling, charging him with murder and armed robbery, and sent him straight to the city jail.
We had 1 suspect down and 2 to go.
To further solidify our case against Starling, we put his photo in a 6-person lineup and show it to our star witness, Gerald Williams.
All right, look, thanks for coming in, man.
He's the only person we could really show this lineup to right now.
All right, so we got some photos for you to look at.
All right.
Check it out.
And he's looking at 1, he's looking at 2, and we had James Starling in 3, and he just glossed over that.
Nothing yet.
And I feel this pit in my stomach develop, and he goes to 4, and then he goes to 5, and then he goes to 6, and I'm thinking he's gonna go back to 3. I know he's going back to 3.
I mean, nobody looks familiar. You have any other ones?
It's like the carpet got pulled out from underneath us.
Sorry.
Maybe it's because the brother had on a ball cap. Maybe that's why Gerald Williams can't make him in the photographic lineup.
This actually makes us think maybe we just jumped the gun too quickly on arresting James Starling.
Appreciate your time.
Right now, we're a little nervous. Did the rookies mess up or what? This is a major blow to our case.
Even though Gerald failed to ID Starling, we're still convinced he's one of the suspects.
We decide we gotta do a search warrant. Let's go to his crib, see if we can find some piece of evidence that gives this case a boost in the arm.
All right, here you go. So, as you can see, that's a warrant to search the premises.
We find out he actually lives with both of his parents.
We understand you have a job to do. James' room is in the back.
They were good people.
Thank you.
They were very cooperative. And immediately, we see the clothes that were particularly described by our witnesses and James himself that he was wearing on the day he met our victim. A red t-shirt and black shorts.
Oh, Parmalat.
It reads Parmalat across the front.
So we collected those 2 items as evidence.
So we gotta harken back to when we dealt with Abraham at the front desk.
Asked about Parmalat.
People who were involved in this homicide had come downstairs and asked to spell the word Parmalat.
Mama, hey, do you know this place?
James worked there.
Yeah, we definitely want to back that.
And what we don't see in this room is a gun, a computer, or anything else linking James to the crime.
Does James own a gun?
No, but I do. 2, in fact. I keep them locked up.
Can you show us?
So we take James' dad over to the safe, opens up the safe. There are no guns in it.
All right, so now what kind of guns are supposed to be up in here?
A little .22 revolver and a black .38.
We know our witness described the gunman that produced the gun. He said it was a black .38. That gun is gone.
Okay, where's your son's car? The maroon Buick?
No, that car actually belongs to my other son, Marcus, and he's out.
We got a situation now where the gun is gone, this burgundy car that was described is no longer there, and we got this brother, Marcus Wright, who's unaccounted for.
What's your son Marcus look like?
He's a heavy set, dark skin, short hair.
That matches the description of our gunman. This has got to be our missing link.
When's the last time you seen him?
Like a week ago?
We need to find Marcus Wright. We need to find out if he's involved in this.
So I guess I can get up and leave now, right?
No, you're going to booking.
Only 4 days into the investigation,
You heard the man.
me and my partner arrest 29-year-old James Starling for the murder and armed robbery of our victim, Lawrence Green. While searching Starling's home, the case takes a turn.
All right, is your son's car here? The maroon Buick?
No, that car actually belongs to my other son, Marcus, and he's out.
We've possibly identified one of the 2 other men with James Starling on the night our victim was killed as his brother, Marcus Wright.
When's the last time you seen him?
Like a week ago?
We still have a lot of work to do.
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it. Okay.
At that point, we were confident Marcus Wright was also involved in this murder.
It was most likely the guy that had the gun, but we needed to prove it. We decided to go back to our witness, Gerald Williams, but this time with a photograph in the lineup of Marcus Wright.
Even though he didn't ID James Starling, maybe he'd ID his brother.
All right, so thanks for meeting us again. Now look, we got another photo lineup that we want to show you.
Okay.
We have this lineup in hand of Marcus Wright. He's in the number 5 spot.
So just like before, study each picture and see if you recognize anybody from that day. Cool? Okay.
We're hoping upon hope he comes through on this second viewing.
It's him.
He puts his finger on number 5 and says, that's the guy with the gun.
You sure?
I'm positive. He was a big guy with a .38.
He's pointing to Marcus Wright. We are there. We got 2 out of 3 right now. So now it's 5 days into the investigation of our victim. It's May 30th. We get a warrant for the arrest of Marcus Wright for armed robbery and the homicide of our victim, Lawrence Green.
Yeah, got some grub.
Here you go.
Any word from the fugitive unit yet?
Not yet.
We got our personal bloodhounds on the case. They're searching and scouring all of Metro Atlanta, trying to find Marcus Wright.
But there's an APB on the car too, so it's only a matter of time.
He may be in the wind. He may be running, knowing that we're coming after him.
Velasquez. Uh-huh. That's great. Hold on a second. Marcus is in custody.
Damn.
How'd it go down?
We went to his parents' house. Do you know where your son is?
No.
Okay, we're gonna have to take a look around your house.
The fugitive detective gets a tip that Marcus Wright is inside of the family dwelling.
This one particular fugitive detective, he is relentless. And I knew when he had that case, if Marcus Wright is in that house, he's walking out with this detective.
He goes to the pantry and he can peer through and actually see a couple of feet.
Found him. Come out there with your hands up. Let me see your hands. Keep your hands up where I can see them. Walk toward my voice.
That's great work, man.
Thanks.
All right, what time are you delivering them to us?
I wanted to, but he shut down.
He totally says he has nothing to say to homicide, and the fugitive team takes him straight to jail.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
At this point in the investigation, we got two asses in jail that aren't saying a word. I mean, they've gone ghost on us. They're not giving any information. We're at an impasse. We don't know where to go next.
Yo, we still need to ID this third guy.
Yeah.
Where's the box?
This is the person that actually pushed our victim out of the window. We're still scratching our heads. We don't know who he is.
Yo, so I've been looking for known associates for the brothers, but I'm coming up empty, man.
We're waiting on manna from heaven. Hopefully, we get some kind of a hook and we can figure out who number 3 is. Something's got to give.
Velasquez, homicide.
So out of nowhere, I got a surprising call that changed everything.
What's your name?
Akira Watson.
Akira, how can I help you?
I have some information on the case with a guy who went out the window.
This was a call directly from God, unsolicited. We didn't do any media, and we get a hookup like this. It was an amazing moment.
What can you tell us?
Maybe she can tell us who the third suspect is.
It was a good hiding spot, but we got him.
James Starling and his brother, Marcus Wright, have been arrested.
That's great work, man.
We have 2 suspects in custody for the armed robbery and murder of Lawrence Green, but we still got 1 outstanding.
What's your name?
Akira Watson.
Out of the blue, we get a call. This woman says, I know who the killer is. We couldn't believe it.
Go on.
My man said he did it.
Akira goes on to say that the father of her 2 small children actually confessed to killing our victim.
Okay, Akira, I'd like for you to come to my office so we can speak in person. Can you do that?
Yes.
This is important information. Like, we can't do this over the phone. We got to get Akira into our office. I end the call. She agrees to come right over.
Thanks.
Akira Watson comes to the office just as scheduled.
All right, Akira, so let's start from the beginning. Talk to us.
The guy that I'm talking about is my baby's daddy, Ricordio.
She tells us that the father of her children is 24-year-old Ricordio Jackson. He calls and tells her, I got something to tell you, but I don't want you to be mad at me.
Okay, and what did he say?
He said that he and the guy Marcus went to rob a guy near MLK Drive at the YMCA.
It was all a setup on selling a computer. It was just something they pretended to do in an effort to rob the victim. And this guy ended up dying in the process.
And he said that the victim went out the window?
Yes.
This is all adding up. She's talking about our case. There's no doubt about it.
Ricordio was feeling bad.
He is struggling with the fact that someone died while he was out doing some dirt. You gotta tell somebody. Who better to tell than your woman?
Were there any other people involved?
Mm-hmm. The other guy's brother.
According to Ricordio, a guy named James actually set the lick up.
Ricordio said that he and the old guy were fighting during the robbery, and he fell out the window.
She says Recordio admitted that he hit the guy during the robbery, and the next thing he knew, the guy went out the window. That's our case right here, 1,000%.
Okay, now, did he say anything else?
That's it.
This is a third-party confession. This is information that a jury gets to hear because she's regurgitating facts that only the killer would know. So at this point, Akira has described our case factually 100%. She's wrapped this thing up in a nice, pretty bow for us. Just like we had done before, we printed a photo of Recordio Jackson, put it in the lineup, and showed it to our star witness, Gerald Williams.
This was the third time meeting with him. Right away, he picked Recordio Jackson as the person that pushed Lawrence Green out the window.
On June 26, 2001, we secured a warrant for Recordio Jackson, charging him with armed robbery and felony murder.
We received information that Recordio was at home in DeKalb County.
He was quickly arrested without incident.
He refused to speak with us, so he was transported directly to the city jail.
We've got the gunman, we've got the setup man, and we got the guy who physically assaulted our victim and pushed him out the window. We couldn't be in a better place for the second case of our homicide careers.
While awaiting trial, we received news that threatens to derail our case.
Yo, you're not gonna believe this.
What's up?
See for yourself.
Oh, man.
We get a notice from James Starling, attorney, saying that his client has an alibi for the day in question, the day our victim, Lawrence Green, was killed.
All right, now, what in the actual hell is this dude up to?
Lawyer says his client has an alibi.
He's got a human being jumping up and down saying that James Starling was with someone else. He couldn't have been there.
Which doesn't make sense.
Nah.
I gotta think back. He himself, in his interview with us, said, I was there. I met the victim. But who is this witness? What are they gonna say?
Yo, we need to speak to whoever this alibi is. ASAP.
We gotta find out who this alibi is and see if they give us a sit down.
All right, let me see that number.
We might actually be in trouble.
So I need the name of James Starling's alibi.
This could throw our case right off the track.
Go on.
My man said he did it.
We've arrested 3 men for the murder of 51-year-old Lawrence Green, Recordio Jackson, Marcus Wright, and Marcus's brother, James Starling.
Yo, you're not gonna believe this.
What's up?
While awaiting trial, Starling tries to rewrite his part of the story. Now we got the guy we believe that set this whole thing up. He's got his attorney filing motions in court saying he has an alibi witness.
We need to speak to whoever this alibi is. ASAP.
Starling actually puts himself at our crime scene. This makes absolutely no sense.
I need the name of James Starling's alibi. Give me a second.
James Starling is now claiming that he was with his girlfriend, Jaleesa White, 8 miles away at her house during the time of the homicide.
All right, thanks. All right, so Starling says his girlfriend is the alibi.
We got to acknowledge that we were goose eggs on getting him identified in a lineup.
Yo, this could bite us in the ass, man.
Let's roll.
We don't want to give a defense attorney ammunition against us. We got to start working the case again if that's what it means.
With this new information, we decided to visit Starling's girlfriend, Jaleesa White. But the odd thing was she refused to give a statement. The next thing we know, Marcus Wright made a deal.
In exchange for the murder charge, he pleads guilty to aggravated assault with intent to rob.
And received a lesser sentence of 15 years.
Then Recordio Jackson followed suit. He pleads guilty to voluntary manslaughter and receives a sentence of 18 years.
Part of his plea deal was to give a full confession, to talk about all of the events that led up to our victim's death.
It was time to sit down with him and find out exactly what happened that day.
All right, so you gotta come with the truth today.
So, how did you get involved in all this?
James set it up. He said he met this guy at a pawn shop.
Hey, what's up, OG? You looking to buy a computer?
That's right.
Okay, I got a real nice one. I can sell it to you.
That lines up with what we learned in the beginning of this investigation. We noted James Starling was at the pawn shop talking to our victim, and he posed a story about selling a computer.
He said we'd pull in a Jeep.
We know the transaction in James Starling's own mouth to us was that he was gonna sell a computer for $50, but that doesn't line up.
Hold up, you were promised $1,000?
Yep.
James Starling is just trying to get him some incentive to come along with the plot and just get whatever our victim had. $1,000 is a good lick.
Me and his brother were there to help out.
Once James Starling put together this lick bait for his co-conspirators, he told them to meet him at 22 Butler Street so they can commence with this robbery.
When James couldn't get the computer to work, he left and told us to get the money.
Hey, you know what's up? Turn around. He said his job was just to go through the pockets, but our victim, Lawrence Green, started fighting. He started bucking. Ain't giving you nothing.
So Recordio admits to hitting our victim, striking him one time in the face. But he says he didn't push him out of the window.
Okay, so you didn't push him out the window?
No, he just fell.
Now, that's not what our witness says. Our other victim that's in the room, Gerald, that sees this whole thing go down, he clearly says the person that hit Lawrence pushed him out the window.
Okay, so we have an eyewitness that gave a different story.
I'm telling you, I didn't push him or nothing. He fell by himself.
Recordio is staying so far away from that. Doesn't matter. If you commit a felony, whether he jumped out of the window on his own or fell out of the window accidentally, while that robbery is occurring, what Recordio Jackson just admitted to was felony murder.
I can't help it if the old man can't keep his balance.
Recordio Jackson didn't appear to show any remorse. He's self-serving, and that may explain why his girlfriend gave him up.
This was a botched lick where the perpetrators got nothing. Just took a man's life on a whim for a possible lick that was going to yield nothing but $50.
We all took off. James asked me if I got any cash from the guy, and I told him no.
He didn't seem to care about our victim so much as he did himself. And that's the reason he took this plea deal.
Stand up for me.
With Recordio Jackson's statement, Starling's alibi will be shredded in court.
Right before the trial, James Starling, he takes a plea for aggravated assault with intent to rob. Because James Starling wasn't actually inside room 313, he's able to hook up a deal where he only sits for 4 years in prison.
It was a disappointing end to a tough case.
We're getting spoon-fed some pretty harsh cereal here. I mean, it's a situation where the guy that actually put this lick together, he gets to go home early. So that part hurts.
Think it jumped? Jumped, fell, pushed. We'll have to see.
This case was kind of incredible because we got to really cut our teeth in learning how to do this job.
All right, I'm not spotting like a suicide note or nothing like that, right?
No.
We knew to investigate the death of a human being is one of the greatest responsibilities that could be bestowed on any detective. And we didn't take that lightly.
Then they pushed him out the window.
That's part of this case that resonates with me.
Not exactly about a textbook.
The second part is us being brand new, trying something out of the box.
What you want me? So your name came up in a case I'm working.
Something we've never done that really became...
They were high school sweethearts on the verge of having it all.
This will be the girls' room?
Oh, it's beautiful. They're gonna love that.
They were in the process of building a new home.
Oh, my Xbox can go right here.
Everyone thought, wow, this is the beginning of your future.
They expect to get married, maybe even have more kids.
Then the unexpected happens.
Hello?
When I first heard that he was reported missing, I was shocked.
He was a man that loved his family.
Why would he do something like this? Just disappear without leaving a trace?
Was the devoted family man living a double life?
I just don't know what I've been through.
The message implies that this is gang related.
I thought something happened.
Or will the cover-up be even worse than the crime?
You can't imagine someone so calculated.
It's not something that anybody would have seen coming.
Arkansas, a tight-knit community an hour southwest of Little Rock.
Our Arkadelphia is a small town. You're talking about 10,000 people.
There's a lot of family, a lot of community.
Everybody knows everyone.
It's a quiet town. Not a whole lot goes on there.
Although on this particular Saturday, the matriarch of one Arkadelphia family is racked with worry.
Hey, what's up? You reached Dominique. Couldn't answer the phone. Leave a message.
The last time Dominique Whitaker's mother saw her child was on July 4th.
It's your mother. Why aren't you picking up?
2 days later, she hasn't heard from him.
He'd gone to celebrate the 4th of July with his longtime girlfriend, Kayla Nelson, and the couple's 2 children.
Call me when you get this place.
She hoped there was a simple explanation.
Kayla and the kids were supposed to go to the church Bible camp after the 4th.
She figured, well, maybe Dominique decided to go along with Kayla on this trip.
Either way, Kayla would know.
Hey, Kayla. Sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if I could speak to Dominic.
I thought he was with you.
Born and raised in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, 27-year-old Dominique Whitaker lived a simple life.
Dominique was a quiet, introverted individual.
Dominique was your everyday guy. He went to work, he came home, he was just that laid-back guy.
And when he was home, Dominique was typically in front of his computer.
Oh, yeah. He was an avid gamer.
Nice try. He had a lot of gaming contacts, even outside of his small town.
On there, he was able to be himself and let his personality blossom.
But before he was a gamer, he was a prominent athlete.
In high school, he was a star on the basketball court and really had a lot of opportunities to go to a collegiate level on a scholarship.
Dominique's star power gave him other opportunities too, especially in the dating game.
The girls thought he was absolutely wonderful.
But Dominique only had eyes for one young lady, Kayla Nelson.
Kayla had his heart. They became an item in high school.
However, she was far more than just Dominique's girlfriend.
Kayla was extremely intelligent. She would be the only student in some of the more advanced classes that were offered at our school.
She had big dreams of attending school.
Dominique being the star athlete, Kayla being this academic achiever, they're drawn together.
They both had dreams of doing great things.
Until unexpected news changed the course of their lives forever.
They found out in her senior year that she was pregnant.
What do you think we should do?
I don't think we should keep it.
Me too.
They decided they wanted to make a family together with their child. And they have a baby their senior year.
Despite the challenges, Kayla still finished school.
Kayla was the class valedictorian. She graduated with a 4.0.
But further education and college basketball would have to wait.
They decided to put their aspirations as far as furthering their education on hold in order to go to work and be able to provide a life for their child.
Dominique took a factory job while Kayla worked at a local restaurant.
But even with 2 incomes, it was a struggle to get by.
Because of finances, they both had to move back home with their parents. But what they wanted to do was keep things intact and continue to date and see each other and to co-parent their child.
The couple also had a second daughter, which didn't make the family situation any easier.
More finances were required, and it was stressful.
But they was determined to build a better life together.
He worked and was consistent about his work schedule, and she had worked her way up to get an assistant manager's job.
The promotion allowed Kayla to rent a small house on the edge of town, but bigger and better things were on the horizon.
Because of that financial stability, Kayla was in the process of building a new home.
Yeah, so this will be the girls' room.
Oh, it's beautiful. They're gonna love that. What about this room right here? What's this for?
Come here. This is gonna be your gaming room.
They had lived separately for years, and I think Kayla was ready to move forward.
My gaming room? For me?
They expect to get married, build this home, maybe even have more kids.
But now, just as they're on the verge of achieving that goal, Dominique's mother hasn't seen or heard from him in more than 48 hours.
He's not with me. I thought he was with you.
Oh?
Kayla also stated that she has not seen Dominic since July the 4th as well.
The last time she saw Dominique was when she dropped him off at Dominique's mother's home.
And Kayla hasn't heard anything from him since.
I don't understand.
At this particular point, everyone becomes a little worried.
That was unlike Dominique.
This is serious and it's time to call the police.
and Nelson were on the verge of seeing their dreams come true.
After years of hard work, Kayla and Dominique was almost finished building a new house for their growing family.
Oh, it's beautiful. They're gonna love that.
They'd spent years raising their kids in separate homes, and this was their chance to all be together under one roof.
Only now, their bright future may be in jeopardy.
Dominic's mom has not heard from Dominic. She reaches out to Kayla to get more information on whether she's seen Dominic or not.
I dropped him off at your place on the 4th.
And she had not heard from him since.
After talking to Kayla, Dominique's mother makes a worried call to the Arkadelphia police.
I need to report my son missing.
He would talk to his mother every day, but she hadn't heard from him in 48 hours.
His mother was very worried that something bad had happened to her son.
When detectives arrive,
have a seat, officer.
Dominique's mother insists it's not like her son to just disappear. He kept a very consistent schedule.
And you don't think he just went somewhere on his own?
I don't see how he could.
The average person can disappear. They have a vehicle, they have money, they have credit cards. That's one thing. But Dominique didn't have those things.
After talking to Dominique's mother, the detectives asked to take a look around his bedroom.
This is his room.
Mom states there's nothing that seems abnormal to her.
You know, I can't really tell.
She tells detectives that his girlfriend Kayla would know better than she does, so they tell her to come over.
Hey, Kayla, can you come over and help, please?
When Kayla arrives at the house, she does notice that some small things are missing.
Hi, Kayla.
It was just a few of his items that he would normally wear.
Not really.
Certainly nothing to indicate that he had packed up and gone somewhere.
Kayla also walks investigators through when she last saw Dominique on the 4th.
What time did he come over?
Maybe 8 o'clock. I picked up some sparklers for the kids.
They celebrated the 4th of July together, and after that, she dropped him off at home.
And when was that?
Around 11.
She has not seen him since.
Notice anything out of the ordinary about Dominique's behavior that day?
Not really.
Anyone who knew Dominique knew that he had a pattern where everything was same old, same old.
In fact, there was really only one thing about Dominique that ever changed.
Dominique loved to wear his hair in braids. So his mother would braid his hair and she would decorate his hair with different colored beads.
So he had beads in his hair on the 4th?
Yeah, they were blue.
After taking the missing persons report, detectives return to the station and issue a be on the lookout with Dominique's description and pull his phone records, hoping to locate him.
What the detectives were able to find out is that Dominique Whitaker's cell phone had been turned off the evening of July 4th, which made it very hard at the time to track his whereabouts.
His phone being off isn't the only difficulty detectives face when it comes to tracking Dominique.
He doesn't own a car, and he wasn't on any social media.
He didn't have a bank account. He did not have an ATM card or a debit card to trace.
None of their usual strategies will work.
Out of leads, the detectives turn to the local media.
I was the newspaper reporter who covered this case. When he said the name of the missing person was Dominique Whitaker, my jaw kind of dropped because I actually went to school with Dominique.
Being in a small town, everyone is family.
Once word gets out that Dominique has disappeared, the whole town joins in the hunt for the missing man.
People come together. Everybody wanted to find this young man.
But as days pass with no sign of Dominique, his loved ones struggle to keep the faith.
I can only imagine how challenging it can be for a parent, a sister, a girlfriend, daughters, to not know where Dominique is.
Although as awful as that is, things are about to get worse. On July 15th, 11 days after Dominique disappeared, a man clearing brush for a property owner on the outskirts of Arkadelphia makes a shocking discovery.
As he goes into the area, he smells something that's decomposing. I mean, the stench is strong.
Being out in the woods, you would just simply think it's probably a dead animal.
But as the workman moves closer, he realizes it's not an animal.
When he got closer, he saw a skull.
And right next to the skull are a handful of blue hair beads.
Send someone right away.
Arkansas has found what appears to be human remains.
The worker contacts the property owner contacts the police.
Send someone right away.
The body is badly decomposed, but when detectives arrive, they suspect they've found Dominique.
There was hardly no evidence surrounding this body, but what did show up were those blue beads.
The same blue beads that Dominique's mom had put into his hair, so they knew that this was Dominique.
It will be up to the medical examiner to confirm the identification, but the news that Dominique is most likely dead is a devastating blow for the missing man's family.
They could never imagine something such as this happening to him. There were so many questions.
The news also hits the community hard.
When I got the news that there had been remains found, my jaw dropped yet again. Anytime someone loses their life to a homicide in Arkadelphia, it does take the community by surprise.
And their horror and dismay only intensifies when the autopsy confirms that the dead man is Dominique.
But the real shock is how he died.
Dominique was shot from behind. The 9mm bullet was lodged into his spine.
They also noticed that some of the bones were charred, meaning that whoever killed Dominique tried to burn the body.
Yet the crime scene showed no evidence of a fire, no evidence of burning.
Which indicated to the police that his body had to have been moved to the location where it was found.
But those gruesome details bring detectives no closer to understanding why someone would want to kill Dominique.
Dominic was this quiet, low-risk individual that did not make trouble within the community.
He's a father. He goes to work every day. He has a young lady he's known since high school. They're still seeing each other.
It was hard for the investigators to even find an enemy of Dominique.
But then, 4 days after they find his remains, Dominique's enemies all but reveal themselves.
They received this frantic phone call from Kayla.
I'm at the house. We're building. Checking in on the progress. And I found something.
There was a letter that was placed on her door.
I think it might be from whoever killed Dominique.
The message on the door said, quote, "You will be next."
Detectives rush out to the home to meet with Kayla.
The letter was written in red ink.
I found these.
And it was signed, Bloods for Life.
The Bloods, of course, are one of America's most notorious street gangs.
Was it possible Dominique had gotten mixed up with some dangerous people?
The letters say that we killed your boyfriend because he took our drug money.
Police are starting to question whether or not he had any drug affiliation or even any gang affiliation.
Or was there another explanation for the note?
Why would a gang post or even share their contribution to a homicide?
Most individuals who are criminals do not write a letter, and they certainly don't tape it to the door.
In Arkadelphia, Arkansas, the Bloods are not known to have a huge gang presence.
We're definitely not the type of city where gang activity comes into play.
Go home. We'll take care of this.
So something such as this didn't seem plausible or even possible.
For the detectives, there's only one likely explanation for the note.
The killer was trying to throw everyone off.
Although in the process, the killer might have given detectives a clue to their identity.
And the one thing that stood out to them was a reference to protecting the queen.
Detectives were curious if Queen was mentioned because there was another female that should be a person of concern.
Did Dominique possibly have a secret life, a secret lover, maybe someone from his past?
When the detectives follow up with Dominique's friends and family, they learn that there was someone from the past they should take a look at.
Homicide.
During a brief breakup between Kayla and Dominique, he met a young lady.
Her name was Tashana Henderson.
They had briefly dated in 2004, 6 years earlier, but had soon lost touch.
But according to friends and family, Tashana had suddenly resurfaced a few weeks before Dominique's death.
She reaches out to Dominique.
And she had some surprising news.
She said, guess what? We have a baby.
Detectives investigating the murder of Dominique Whitaker have learned that the 27-year-old had a secret.
He has a 4-year-old daughter that no one even knew about.
The little girl is the result of a brief fling Dominique had with a woman named Tashana Henderson.
She and Dominique had lost touch with one another.
A couple of weeks before Dominique was murdered, Tashana was able to track Dominique down.
And so finally, she was able to share with Dominique that he had a 4-year-old.
Could Tashana and her child's sudden reappearance have something to do with Dominique's death?
Maybe there was some anger on Tashana's part, or possibly a dispute over paternity and child support.
If you just have a seat there.
When the detectives bring Tashana in for questioning, She seems surprised by the news that Dominique is dead.
Tashana, we're detectives with the homicide.
There was genuine devastation that Tashana had in that moment.
His body was found in the woods.
It can't be. I just found him.
Tashana was excited to finally have her daughter to meet the father.
According to Tashana, Dominique had been just as excited to meet his little girl.
He was so happy. He thought we lost her.
Lost who?
Tashana says that she'd become pregnant very early in their relationship. But only a few weeks later, she suffered a miscarriage. And she and Dominique had parted ways.
They grieve the loss of their child, and they move on in different directions.
She was trying to heal, trying to get beyond the miscarriage, only to discover a few months later she is still with child.
She found out that she was actually pregnant with twins. One baby passed away, but the other baby was healthy and well.
Tashana says she had been unable to give Dominique the good news.
Dominique had basically disappeared from her life.
The number I had for him was no good, and I couldn't find him on social media.
4 years passed, and now we're around the 2010 mark.
Then she finally said, let me try this search again.
This time, she'd contacted the state's child support office in Arkadelphia.
Child support services in Arkadelphia did locate Dominique.
I called him up and he was so happy.
He was looking forward to meeting his child and working out a plan to co-parent.
Tashana says she was just as thrilled that Dominique would be a part of their daughter's life.
She knew the heart that Dominique had.
She also knew that Dominique would be a good provider.
Of course, there could be complications.
Dominique knew that this was going to be an upheaval because now he and Kayla were finally about to become a unit. They have a new home that was almost being complete.
In Kayla's mind, she had waited all these years for them to be together as a family, for them to come under the same roof, for them to get married. And then this child surfaces out of nowhere.
I can only imagine how angry a person can become hearing that type of news.
And now the detectives wonder how Kayla had taken the news and whether that had anything to do with Dominique's death.
Was this because Kayla finds out that there's another child?
When they bring Kayla in for more questioning, she insists she wasn't angry over the child and that she had nothing to do with Dominique's murder.
Okay, let's start back out on the night of the 4th.
She tells the police that she had no idea of what happened to Dominique.
Walk me through it. Tell me about that night.
She admits that it wasn't just her, Dominique, and the kids hanging out on the night of the 4th. Another friend of theirs had been there.
His name is Jarrell Yarber.
She said Jarrell is an old friend of hers.
Y'all did the 4th of July thing, but I'm sure the kids enjoyed it.
However, Kayla says that not long after the kids went to bed, the evening took an ugly turn.
She stated that Dominique became jealous.
She said that Dominique didn't like the way that Jarrell was always coming around.
Dominique began to question, this is my woman. What is the intent here?
According to Kayla, Dominique suspected there was something going on between them.
Yo, I think it's about time that you leave.
Why don't you make it?
Come on out in the yard then. Come on.
Kayla said that the guys got into a physical altercation.
Tell me about the fight.
Just a bunch of cousins, just a lot of times.
Yeah.
Pushing stuff.
Kayla says that eventually Jarrell had backed down and started heading toward his car.
Dominique thought the fight was over.
But according to Kayla, Jarrell had other plans.
Jarrell decided enough of this arguing.
He'd gone to his car and pulled out a gun.
I was screaming no when I saw his hand go up.
Dominique Whitaker's murder. That a man named Jarrell Yarber killed her boyfriend on the 4th of July.
Kayla tells detectives that they ended up in a fight, and Gerald pulled out a gun.
Where did the gun come from? I guess he was in his car because his trunk was up.
It was stated by Kayla that's when Gerald shot him.
Then what? Just something like, why? Like, why?
Kayla says she watched in horror as Dominique lay on the ground, gasping for air.
How long did he lay there and breathe like that?
It was like hell, like deep breath.
Kayla knew that he needed help.
But she said fear kept her paralyzed.
I was scared.
If Jarrell could kill Dominique, Jarrell could kill her.
Kayla says that once Dominique was dead, Jarrell dragged him around the back of the house.
The body's just, on top of the burn patch, just by my house where I burn trash.
She says that Jarrell wanted to burn the body to get rid of the evidence. So they got fuel and they began to douse it over the body. They grabbed cardboard, they grabbed wood.
How long do you think you set him on fire for? So we got him on burning 30 minutes to an hour or so. Something like that.
But according to Kayla, the plan had gone awry.
There was not enough fuel to get rid of the body.
Kayla said the fire really didn't do much other than char Dominique's clothing.
Which meant that Jarrell had to come up with a new plan.
She tells the police that Jarrell took the remains and he left.
Kayla denied that she knew anything about what Jarrell did with Dominique's body.
But is she telling the truth? After Kayla's confession, the detectives place her in a holding cell and bring Jarrell in for questioning.
They take him in and they give him the statement that Kayla had stated.
She said you shot Dominique. No, that's not what happened at all.
You tell detectives I was not even there when he was murdered.
But he knows who was.
Jarrell states that it was Kayla that had shot Dominique.
How do you know that?
She told me.
Jarrell claims that he was at home on the night of July 4th when he got a frantic call from Kayla.
What he tells the police is that she called me and said, I need help because I've just shot Dominique.
I need you to come here right now.
Sit tight. I'll be right there.
Jarrell says that when he got to Kayla's house, he found her in the backyard over a smoldering fire.
Jarrell states that it was also Kayla who had taken Dominique's body and had burned it. She only called him after all of this had been done.
What the hell are you doing?
It's not working.
However, Jarrell does admit that he helped Kayla load Dominique's body into the back of his car.
They drive out to a wooded area, to the country, and that is where they leave the body.
But you didn't kill him. No, I was just there to help.
He's really surprised and disappointed that Kayla has come in and basically thrown him under the bus.
And she played me for a fool.
Stand up. You're under arrest.
Unsure if Jarrell is telling the truth, the detectives take him into custody.
He is still arrested for the abuse of a corpse.
Then, after locking up Jarrell, the detectives confront Kayla with Jarrell's version of what happened.
Hey, listen here. Let's get past this. Tell me what happened between you and Dominique, okay? Let's not talk about everybody else. Talk about you two.
She broke down. The fear was on her face. She knew that she had to come clean.
It's okay. Get this off your chest.
When Kayla finally regains her composure, she says that she's finally ready to tell detectives what really happened.
I just don't know what I've been through.
She began to tell the investigators that she had lived 10 years of an abusive relationship with Dominique.
But Kayla says that she had eventually reached her limit.
You were being abused, and you had to have a way out.
According to Kayla, that's exactly what happened on the evening of July 4th.
Her two daughters were inside the house while her and Dominic were outside the house.
Just degrading me just all kind of ways. Just yelling and screaming.
Then, according to Kayla, he'd pulled a gun.
He said, I will kill you. And I jumped in the car. And I remember, going around the car. And that was the passenger door open.
Kayla said that as Dominique opened the door, she stomped the accelerator.
And I just gas it. And it hits him. The passenger door, and knocks him down. And he falls. And the gun falls.
She says a scramble for the gun ensued.
And I just beat him to it.
She admitted that she had shot him.
But she did it in self-defense.
Kayla Nelson has admitted to shooting her longtime boyfriend and the father of her two children.
However, Kayla claimed that she had shot him in self-defense.
She insisted that she was abused by Dominique.
Dominique got physical with her, and in order to protect herself, she pulled a gun.
I didn't mean for it to happen like that.
But is that what really happened? Detectives have their doubts.
He was shot in the back. If it was self-defense, that bullet wouldn't have probably been lodged in the back the way it was.
They also have to consider that Kayla may have had a motive.
A few weeks before the murder, Dominique discovered he had a 4-year-old daughter with another woman.
I don't understand why you gotta get involved at this point. It's been 5 years.
It's because that's my daughter, and I need to be there for my daughter, just like I'm here for our girls.
Oh, the hell you are.
Nothing is gonna change between us.
Yes, it does, Dominique.
I'm not doing this right now.
The motive behind Dominique's death was this new 4-year-old daughter, along with just the resentment of all the sacrifices that she made for the sake of Dominique.
He got you pregnant when you were still in school. What did you graduate at?
Valedictorian.
You were valedictorian? Oh my gosh.
Kayla had a promising future. And the one thing that pretty much stopped her from really pursuing her goals was she was pregnant. Perhaps she thought about the things that she could have been or where she could have gone.
Despite claiming self-defense, what Kayla admits she did after Dominique was shot seems far more calculated.
She tried to destroy any remains that had been left behind, but basically trying to make this man disappear off the face of the earth.
She admitted to forging the note, implying that Dominique was involved with gangs and drugs.
You didn't want to be a suspect, right?
Right.
Is that what you're telling me?
Mm-hmm.
Stand up. You're under arrest for the murder of Dominique Whitaker.
But in the end, It was all for nothing.
Kayla is charged with first-degree murder and the abuse of a corpse.
News of Kayla's arrest stuns all of Arkadelphia.
No one could have imagined anything such as this happening.
Having known both Kayla and Dominique, it was just mind-boggling, really. But I didn't know that she was capable of doing what she did.
Kayla's claim that Dominique had abused her for years is almost as shocking.
Kayla's story was different from the recount from his friends.
People in the community told the police how he was just very relaxed and laid back and kind.
His mother, his sister, never saw him put a hand on her, never even raise his voice.
So Kayla's story is starting to fall apart.
Facing long odds, Kayla's attorney approached the prosecutors and negotiated a plea deal.
It was in her best interest to take a guilty plea and save herself from being in prison the rest of her life.
If we went to jury trial, there would be a very good chance that the jury would give her a life sentence.
She was sentenced to 31 years in prison.
The judge gave her 25 years on first-degree murder, 6 years for damaging a corpse.
I was personally kind of shocked that she got such a short sentence.
Dominique's family isn't just shocked, they're outraged.
They wanted her to get life in prison.
Kayla would be able to get out when she's 47 years old. Her life would be able to start over. His life was cut short because of Kayla, and his family are still left here to pick up the pieces.
The family is equally disappointed when Jarrell Yarber, the man who helped Kayla dump the body, cuts his own deal with the prosecutors.
In December of 2011, Gerald Yarber pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 493 days in jail, along with 18 years of probation.
This may have been justice served for some, but for others, it was nothing more than a slap in the face.
No one wins in this situation. And you have these innocent children who are without a father.
There's nothing that can make up for what Dominique's family has lost.
Dominique had been a very quiet man, but a good father, and really tried to be there for